pie chart because it's colored. That's it. And there's no good reason.
It just looks pretty.
It just looks pretty, and people like graphs. This is active inventory, and it just kind of shows them what the competition is in their market, how the price ranges play out in numbers. And then the block on the right is all about averages. Average original list price, average price at list price at sale rather, and average sale price. This is to show you percentage to sale, and really the story there is to original list. We're hoping to get away from that story. Again, now that we're seeing, you know, the lower inventory and prices coming up, I know that there have been a lot of markets lately, or a lot of houses lately that have gotten like 4 offers. Just like, boy, it's been a lot of years since I've heard those stories. It's kind of nice. We want that inventory up a little bit so there's more money to be made, but it's still kind of nice to see things turning around at all after the last few years. But there have been a lot of price changes to make something sell. So this is just a way to start the dialogue with sellers on where to price their house and how that impacts what actually sells. So this is the supply and demand report. We do it for residential and condo here in town. And we just a few months ago started doing one specific to Eagle River. So I know Les isn't here, and a lot of other people from the Eagle River office aren't here. Oh, Nani! Oh, hi, Nani! So we did one specific for Eagle River because it is such a specialty market out there. And we've got a lot of offices out there. So this is what is canned for you every day. We have a lot of other ones that really are more simplistic than this, but sometimes it's all you need for a client is just something quick, down and dirty. Yes?
Why in the Valley do you have to have a separate Palmer and Wasilla? Why can't we just have a Valley like we do for the TNO?
That is because that was the request from offices out in the Valley. We had a user group when we built the reports out there. Go pick one up. And they chose to have a Palmer core commute and a Wasilla core commute. And the theory, of course, is that there's Wasilla's hither and yon, you know, to do a whole valley stat really doesn't work out there. And so they just narrowed it down to the core commute areas. And whether consumers wanted Palmer or Wasilla, my presumption is whether consumers wanted Palmer or Wasilla was pretty specific, and that's why they broke it down to the 2 core areas. 2 broken down for you?
Yeah, I prefer if it were in one.
All one. Well, that's something to float out there. You know, market has changed. I've been doing these stats for the Wasilla and Palmer core commutes. I expanded, oh gosh, probably about 5, maybe 6 years ago. And things do change. I just load it up to our Wasilla brokers and see what they think. Any questions about the CAN stats? No? Now I'll show you what wonderful things Flex has come up with. Has anyone worked with the market summary from the statistics module? I see a couple there. They did this maybe a year ago, a little less than a year ago, and it allows you to get pretty specific because of market overlays. Anybody worked with market overlays yet? One. Market overlays, pretty cool, huh? Yeah, market overlays, you can now create a polygon on a map, and you can save it. So it can be used as a criteria in a search, but it can also be used as the criteria to run for a market summary. So, I have until noon? Yeah. Okay, I have a little more time than I expected. So, you want to go through the map overlay?
Sure.
Yeah, since we're doing it? Okay, great. Well, under Preferences and My Map Overlays, you will get a little box that says, Welcome to Map Overlays. Once you get through that, it's going to look like this, and you can just create a new one. So the first thing I obviously want to do is find the area. So I'll just zero in on Anchorage here. And you get to decide exactly what you want it to look like. So say you have a client that wants to live in Midtown. So I can come up here and I can, oh, darn it, sorry. I messed that up completely. Okay. You're not doing very well with the mouse. You can tell. Okay, they want Midtown. So let me try that again. So I click on the polygon, and I can just do a rough Midtown. So maybe it's from here, drag to the next point, click, drag to the next point, click, drag to the next point, click. This is pretty basic. When I'm done with the polygon, I can double click. But what I can do with any polygon I create is I can edit it. So I go into edit, and IE gives me a strange thing. And I want to edit the shape. Come on, baby. Thank you very much. It allows me to pull it anywhere I want it to go. So now, okay, this is basic, but really, what was I thinking? This is nothing like where I would really want Midtown to be. So I can move it here. Lake Otis can be 1. Move it over here. Back to Lake Otis. And I don't want Fairview up here. I definitely don't want that. So I'm going to bring this down. Bring this down. Bring this up because they're okay with East Side. So you can, or East Ridge. So you can just play until you get this exactly like you want it. Rhoda Florio actually called me when we first got map overlays. She created a Greenbelt map. It took her forever. But she is a map that just kind of rings around Greenbelt. So if she gets a client that wants to live on the trail system, she's got the search already right there. Once you've created the map overlay, which is really pretty simple. It's just like making a polygon anytime. Hi. And now you can save it. Once you have saved them, you can use it in a search. You can use it in the market summary, which is what I want to show you. So I've got statistics, market summary, and when you first go in here, it's going to be like always. It's going to load up all of the MLS trash you don't need. But all you have to do, just like my market, is go up to the top. To customize, if I can click it there, there we go. And new location. Now, once you get here, you'll see you don't have a lot of choices with dates, but it's going to give you charts that cover a year. So you'll choose the end date. You can go back as many years. 1998 is our first full year. But you can go back as many as you want, but we're going to end it with March 2002 and residential. And when I click in here, I get this list. I can type city, zip code, map overlay, area, information in this new location. I'm going to go down and choose my Midtown one. Double click your choice, and now you'll see it's right here. When I hit search, it adapts all of these graphs and tables down below to be exactly what I wanted. So you can target it just to what your client wants. If they are fussy about wanting to live in Midtown, Geneva Woods, Rogers Park, College Village, not a lot moving there, but you can zero in on that. If they want just Huntington Park, you can't run Spenard if you're looking for Huntington Park, because Spenard is really all over the place. But here you can get very specific for them. And you can adapt some of these graphs, number of listings. We've got active, new, sold, and pinned it on here, but you'll see there's a little wrench. It's hard to see. But that allows you to choose what's going to be there. This is a lot like our recent trends graph that we post every month. List prices. Yeah, I'm very remedial when it comes to mice. I know other things. On the listing prices, you get to choose if you want original list and sale price, or all three of them, original list, final list, and sale price. Absorption rate, here it is a 12-month average to do absorption rate. If you take an economics class, it's going to go, just take the active and divide by the sales for a month, but we're not big enough for that. It just bounces all over the place, so we like the averages. This is an average of 12 months back that they're averaging the sales here with. Sold to list price ratios are there. Days on market, price volume, all pretty standard. Then down below you start getting into some stats, and these are nice. Thank you. Thank you, Joe. Well, anything can be better, right, than what I'm doing. So you've got this month compared to last month in absorption rate and all the average prices, median, average, DOMs for median and average, and the percentage change between the two, and then you get a year-to-date total, and this is from January 1st to whatever the final month is. So these would be first quarter totals right now, up against last year's first quarter totals, and they're looking good overall, not just for Keller. In comparison, I think Keller's percentage was up perhaps just a little over last year than everybody else, but everything looks better this March than it did last March. And then you get into some of the price ranges. My heartburn with the price ranges is Flex has taken the NAR home sales report, and that ends at 500,000. So it's 500,000 and above in the sold prices, and that's not ideal. I've got a request in for them to break that out a little bit more. So this is my market, and from a search criteria standpoint, this is market summary, beg your pardon. From a search criteria standpoint, my market is much more powerful because you can go in, you can do the full search, but it only yields you monthly totals, which has its place. The summary report, you have less that you can choose as far as criteria goes, but it gives a really dynamic overview. Yeah. So those are the two things I wanted to show you. Any questions on any stats? Well, you can call me anytime. I get a lot of calls from licensees, granted, not many from Keller, but a lot of calls from other licensees going, my client wants blah, 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 how do I do that? So if it can be done, I'm the person that'll figure out how to do it. So don't hesitate to call me. And I'm not getting any questions because you've got the best staff group. I always get questions, but these guys know what they're doing. So just one more thing I want to check on. Do all of you know what the listing activity report in Flex is? Anybody seen that? Oh.
It's the drop down, right?
What?
The drop down?
In the drop down. Yeah, I know I've talked to you about that, Bob. I'm going to show that real quick because if anyone doesn't know it, it's pretty cool. Good job, Bob.
Are you talking about the history?
No. Nope, not talking about the history. So if it is your listing, there's a little triangle next to every list number on a search results screen. When you click on that triangle, it's got several things, but the bottom two will only be there if it is your listing. And that's edit a listing, so you can go straight from, if you clicked on my contact or my active listings, you could go straight to the edit screen on any of those listings with just the triangle. But the listing activity is the last thing, and this is basically a hit count from several different places. Again, it is specifically for a seller. Look familiar now? You can do date ranges, and it tells you where people are viewing this listing. So in this particular listing, where it says Flexit LS, the first one here, the count is 708. This is how many times this house has been drilled down and viewed by your peers. So when you're talking to a seller, this is the kind of activity they can't get anywhere but by listing the property with you. The next is the email of those licensees. 160 times a licensee emailed this out to their client, be it manually or via an automatic email. It went out to a client. These two numbers they're never going to get without listing with a licensee. Portal for those licensees that have set up portals for their clients, specific websites with the criteria their client wants. This listing appears in 103 portals. And of those, over on the side, how do people rate this listing? It has been put in carts on those 103 portals. 2 have it as a favorite, 2 have it as a possibility, 23 have it as a reject. Not a big surprise with whatever this house is because it's gotten an awful lot of hits, not to sell yet. But, and 1 has removed it entirely from the search. That is controlled by the licensee. It also talks about some public websites. Flex is an IDX vendor, just like anybody you consult and have get the listings from MLS onto your website. Flex does that as well. Flex IDX works with licensees. Of all the licensees that have contracted with Flex, this listing has been hit on those agent websites 12 times. And AlaskaRealEstate.com, it has been drilled down by a consumer there 1,581 times. So this can go to your seller, so they see how much exposure. And down below they do, based again on the portal activity, kind of like people who chose this house as a favorite also chose these houses as favorites, and they can see what their competition looks like and the price. And people on the portals that drilled down and viewed listings, regardless of whether they put them in a cart, they also drilled down and viewed these other listings. So it's like the Amazon, people who bought this book also bought that book kind of programming. So it gives your seller a lot of information on what you're doing, and it's a good companion piece to the showing activity report out of the lockbox system. It's like, here, this is how many eyeballs I'm getting to your property, and over here is a report on how many bodies I'm getting to your property. Now let's talk about why it's not selling. That's it.
Can you leave that up?
You bet.
Do you guys have any other questions for Bev?
Thank you.
Anyone? Anyone? This is a class.
I have one.
You have a class to do statistics and such?
Yes, mainly you can just call me and I'll give you a one-on-one class if I tend to see like there's a lot of demand going on. But mostly I've been through the whole membership and kind of overwhelmed with classes every day for a while, so I don't get a lot of demand. So just call me and I'll give you a one-on-one. Or if you ever want to do a, like get together and say 6 of us want a class, I'll always do that. Yes?
Online tutorials?
Yes, they have tutorials and manuals on the statistics module up in Help. When you go on Help, up in the upper right, it has tutorials and manuals on there. You click on that and you get an array for the entire system.
Fantastic.
Yes?
Do you have any plans of making Macs compatible with the Risco keys?
Risco does not have a plan to do that. One of our major complications, and since the R word was brought up, we'll just go with it. And we've had a very hard time with Risco. In fact, I think I saw you in the office this morning
Yeah, my
with a key.
key just went
Yeah.
nuts on me on Saturday.
Yeah, the keys are not performing at the level we would like them to perform, and Risco as an organization is not delivering the service that we need. So the board, is looking at other options. So unless Risco steps up to the plate in the next 5 minutes, which I don't believe they're capable of, since they told me point blank they will not be ever adapting to Macs, which is absurd, I think we'll probably be moving on. And so very shortly, decisions will be made and we'll have more to say about that. Look, we're actually excited. As horrid as a lockbox conversion would be, I am excited to get something out there that will work, because this has been the biggest failure since I've worked there.
We've been through it before.
Yeah, it was awful then too, wasn't it?
We lived
It
through
wasn't
it.
so bad.
The transition wasn't bad. You guys took care of it.
Yeah, I thought it was great. Nate, got a question.
Are they gonna, because I know there's some houses that have iPhone-enabled boxes. Is that like a system you guys will be looking at?
We are looking, there are only 2 players in the marketplace, to be truthful, Supra and CentralLock. Those are the only options we have. And they both do it very differently, but both options have a very nice automatic interface for you. One's on an iPhone, one is not.
If you go with something on an iPhone, make sure it's also Android compatible, because a lot of us don't have iPhones.
Oh yes, I beg your pardon, I should say smartphone compatible.
What's an Android?
See, he shows up on time. Any other questions for Bev while you have the answer to all questions here live? She can't ignore your call or hide or anything. Okay, awesome.
I never ignore
never
mine.
have.
I occasionally
You
hide,
actually
you know.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much for having us here.
So because he's from the valley and because he drove in all the way. I'm going to go backwards and recognize Clinton Peterson. We clapped for you earlier. You only got one clap because you weren't here. However, you have your written certificate for $744,500, and there's another one in here somewhere. Oh, closed volume $549,000 in the month of March, and I was bragging on you earlier. So,
Thanks, dude.
let me ask you a question while I've got you here. You're coaching with Chris McNamara through MAPS Coaching, correct?
Yep.
And you were a buyer's agent for how many years?
Months.
A year and a half, a little.
Well, I got my license in November and I left in October, so it was like 9 months.
And then you were, before you got your license, you were basically serving as a telemarketer, correct? Like calling leads and trying to get appointments?
Yep.
While you were waiting to get
Right.
your license?
Well, I failed 5 times.
While you,
Right.
I wasn't-
Hey, you're here now today, baby. That's it.
making money.
Failing forward.
So, talk to me for a second. This has nothing. Since you're here, I'm very impromptu. What's been the greatest help for you? What is the greatest thing you've gotten out of your MAPS coaching relationship? I guess.
Well, I picked up another friend. I was able to purchase him. So
You bought a friend.
bring him onto my arsenal. That I would say well, I still look at myself as a quote-unquote rookie, so it's like, man, even when I'm a veteran, I'll still want to be learning and things like that. When I can tap into somebody that's successful in an industry. When I was 19, I heard, show me your coach, I'll show you your future. If you don't have a coach, you're living your future. And that stuck with me because in athletics, I've always looked at it as, if you want to be great at something, you need a coach. Tiger Woods is a coach, he's one of the best golfers, amongst other things.
I bet Bubba has a good one.
But, so the biggest thing that I get is the accountability. If I boiled it down to one thing, that's the biggest thing. I'm more willing to work hard for him than me. And if I rather hit a snooze button, I know that he's going to be like, well, he said it last week, that disappoints me. So yeah, I'd say that's the biggest thing.
Excellent. Sorry for a little plug in coaching, but I can't help it. It's one of the most critical pieces of your success. So
I've made my money back tenfold since I've been in coaching. People say $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000 a month or whatever it is. Just off one thing that he had me do, I pulled out 22 grand just off of that. So it's helped.
And I can tell you from a personal level, one of the things that your coach had you do was get some people to hold you accountable in addition to McNamara. So we talk every Wednesday at 10:30 for 5 to 7 minutes. Clinton has to call me and report what he's doing. And that's been really fun because what I've been able to watch is I've watched you really get specific on your listing presentation. I've watched you learn the DISC at a level where you are using that differently, and it totally kind of turned the way you look at your listing appointments. So it's been really fun to watch that growth. Your perspective on what business do you want to go out and capture specifically, whether it's a new home builder or whether it's not, or where you're going to put your energy, looking into your first hire. So these are all these conversations that he's having, and I know a lot of it is because Chris is pushing you hard on that. So if you're not in coaching, remember you have all kinds of options. You have productivity coaching here in the morning. You have, if you're in the top 20% in the Market Center, every other Tuesday, here with me in the training room. We'll be on next Tuesday from 2 to 3. You have fast track programs that are like $99 a month. You have breakthrough programs, which are a smaller group, about $300 a month for those? $450? And then you have mastery coaching with MAPS, which is $1,000. So there's money's not an excuse. There's lots of options that don't cost. And your first step is the MREA book. If you haven't read it, read it. If you have read it, read it again. So, any other questions or thoughts? And then we're going to leave you the last 15 minutes to eat and just hang out. We've got some people here that I haven't seen in team meeting before, and I am thrilled to see your faces here, and would love for you to be here more consistently. Yes, sir.
I have something Michelle did today. She pulled up a map off of the edge. You guys may know this. I don't know this, but for listening to it, she pulled up a map off of the edge, which was the United States, and then it had hits from each state that actually has visited my website. And I gotta tell you, my next listing presentation, brother, I'm going in with all barrels loaded. That is so cool. And I don't know how to, this is just, I'm busy and she's telling me this, I'm going, yeah, I'm going, oh yeah.
Get your ammo together
It's
first.
such a great tool, it's off the edge, and somebody else might know about it, but that's something new to me, which I think is huge.
I hadn't heard that. There's so much with the edge that I really appreciate just mentioning those things because things are changing so fast. With the edge, we can't assume that everybody's seen it, which leads me to, I do need to mention this before I let you eat. And you like how I made you smell the pizza the whole time and stay to eat. Tomorrow, 1:30 to 2:30. If you have not been a taker of e-edge classes, and even if you have an admin and you say, I'm sending my admin to e-edge, you do not want to miss tomorrow's class. The new My Marketing has rolled out, and it is phenomenal. I've had people showing me stuff all week, just sticking their head in my drawer going, oh my gosh, I just printed this. Like one guy did the Seattle Seahawks football schedule, and bam, it had his name on it. It took him 3 clicks, and he was sending it out to all his database. There is so much cool stuff on here because you don't have to go hire Great Originals necessarily to spend hours doing your design work. You don't have to hire a consultant. You don't have to hire a lot of that stuff. This is about leverage and leading with revenue and keeping your costs down. 5 clicks and you've got a great piece.
There's a wine enthusiast repeat client campaign. Like, are you kidding me?
It's
Like,
bizarre.
It's all information about wine. And I'm sitting there going,
That's where you've
these
been.
guys are
I couldn't get you to answer your phone all day yesterday.
studying.
I know. You were
Yeah.
studying, research, yeah.
One last thing, this is a whole year's worth of, I just want to introduce Michelle.
Welcome, Michelle. We're fired up. So, I know that some of you have said, I'm not the tech guy, I've got staff for that, I've got support, or I'm going to use another resource. You need to know, even if you don't know how to do it yourself and you have your staff do it, you need to know what's possible, because if you have staff working for you, you're the vision caster of your team. You're the one who says, this is what I want to see happen. Now go make it happen. And if you're a single agent, guess what? You don't have to have an excuse of, I can't afford it, or I don't have people in place. It's all put there for you. This is like a no-lose proposition for anybody. So please, 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 again, I'm not saying skip the other e-edge classes at all, but do not miss tomorrow's. You need to know what you're capable of because it will blow your mind.
What time again is that tomorrow?
1:30 to 2:30, 1 hour here. Stock Up will be teaching it, which she is going to start relegating her e-edge stuff to just Wednesdays. And that's kind of me getting out there telling her she can't sacrifice her personal business for everybody, which she has just had such a servant's heart and given an amazing amount of time to all of you.
She's doing pretty good.
Yeah, well, we need to see her continue
Well,
doing that.
that's part of mastery. You guys understand that? She is the original ambassador for e-edge, and guess what? She is killing it through e-edge. You get that?
Yeah.
Right? So the more you teach it, the more you learn it, you have to stand on your own 2 feet with it. And
So
she's
not-
running hard.
And Nani, for those of you who don't know, since she's in the room, Nani Palmer is one of our new e-edge ambassadors as well, along with Benjamin Hornak, who's not here today to get his payday bar. So they will be here Wednesday also to help you guys, and then they're going to start teaching here pretty soon, so you're going to see a new face. DocUp doesn't want you to get numb to hers. So be there tomorrow. It's incredibly important. Anything I'm forgetting before we let people eat? I'm glad you're here. You guys are awesome. Thank you.